Hi, I'm Vincent, and today we'll be discussing a game that uses the Samsung Chord. Chord enables simple real-time sharing without the cloud. Some features of the Chord includes basic communication methods between devices, group management, send data and files. It also supports encrypted data, either file data or channel data, over a channel. It sends UDP data and supports using multiple network interfaces at the same time. To say it simply, Chord enables us for an easy discovery and connection with nearby devices, has real-time experiences between multiple devices, fast peer-to-peer connection without the need of a server, and a decentralized network where peers can come and go at any time. Let's go ahead and take a quick history of Chord. On the previous versions of Samsung Mobile SDK 1.5.0 Beta, it added APIs for UDP data transfer, namely methods send UDP data and send UDP data to all, and listeners such as on UDP data received and on UDP data delivered. Also, users can make other Xcode Manager instances for using multiple network interfaces at the same time. Now, with the Samsung Chord SDK 2.0.0 Beta, the Chord is separated from the Samsung Mobile SDK to make it more efficient for the application development. And it also has new permission that requires you to initialize Chord. You can go ahead and refer to the programming guide for more information. In this how-to, I will be discussing more about a game called Catch Me If You Can that implements the Chord. To implement the Chord, we will need an Eclipse with ADT plugin and the following jar files that can be found in the Mobile SDK 1.5 archives. Just make sure that your test device runs on Ice Cream Sandwich API 14. Ice Cream Sandwich is the minimum requirement to use the Chord. And lastly, download the game Catch Me If You Can attached to this blog post. Now that we have everything that we need, open the main menu.java. In the initialize Chord method, you can see here this is where we initialize the Chord with its initialize method. Additionally, this method throws an exemption error if the device running the SDK is not supported. The start chord method of the main menu class starts the chord. It is started by simply calling the start method of an instance of the Xcode Manager class. This requires two parameters, namely the interface, which you can choose from Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi peer-to-peer, or mobile access point, and the listener, which is an instance of the Xcode Manager.status listener. To join in the channel by calling the join channel method, this requires two parameters. The first parameter is a string variable. This will act as the channel name, and the second parameter is the channel listener, which is an instance of the Xcode channel.status listener. We've got to take note that when you join a channel, it will return an instance of the Xcode channel, which you will need in reference for the channel when you send data. Now, the Xcode channel.status listener is composed of abstracted methods. The first abstracted method is onNodeJoined. This is called when a peer joins a certain channel. And when a peer leaves a channel, we can use the method called onNodeLeft. We also have the onDataReceived method. This is called when you receive data from other peers using the sendData or the sendDataToAll method, which I will explain later. Other abstracted methods include onFileReceived and onMultiFilesReceived works in conjunction with the following: sendFile methods and sendMultiFile methods. Additionally, we have the abstracted method onUDPDataReceived, which works in conjunction with the sendUDPData method. For further information about this, you can refer to the programming guide. And finally, this is the fun part, where we can send data. The data sent is the location of the opposite player. This can be found in the main activity on the overridden onFlee method. We can send data by calling the sendData method of an instance of the Chord channel class. Now this is returned when you join the channel with the joinChannel method. The sendData method requires 3 parameters. The first one is a string variable, which is the name of the peer you will send the data to. The second parameter is also a string type variable, which is the payload type. This is important because this will help identify to which means your data will be used for. And this helps differentiate the data we send to the listener. And the third and last parameter is the data to be sent, which is in byte array. As an option, you need to broadcast data to peers within the channel you joined. You can use the sendDataToAll method, and this method requires only 2 parameters. The first parameter is a string variable, which is a payload type, and the second one is the data itself. And always add the necessary manifest permissions for Internet, access Wi-Fi state, access network state, and write external storage. As an option, you can also add the permission for wake lock. So let's test the application. You can play Catch Me If You Can in 2 modes. The first mode could be on jogging mode for a single player or race off for dual player mode. Before we begin, make sure your device is connected via Wi-Fi Direct with another device with the Catch Me If You Can app installed. Take note, this is the Chord version of the application. So, just click on the Wi-Fi button under Settings and select the Wi-Fi peer-to-peer to establish a connection. Let's select Race Off and create a room and select the track, and then the other device join in the room as such. Now let's start the game. The objective of the game is to simply outrun the other player by swiping down with your fingers. You can locate the location of your opponent on the upper right of the screen on the minimap. Do you see how they communicate? Let's go ahead and summarize up the things we have discussed in analyzing the application that uses Chord. Don't forget that when you create an application for Chord is to include all the SDK jar files in the project. Include the necessary manifest permissions. Check if the Chord functionality is supported by the device. And don't forget to stop the Chord service when it is no longer in use. We hope this tutorial helped. For inquiries, please post your questions on the official forum at developer.samsung.com. Thanks for watching.